Okay, I just had to go over this real quick. Okay, it says in a groundbreaking move for democratic accountability, the Welsh Parliament has officially adopted new standards that allow politicians to be removed from office if found guilty of deliberate deception. This truth law makes Wales the first nation to enforce such a mechanism, fulfilling a legislative pledge to restore public trust before the 2026 elections. The new rules empower the independent standards commissions to investigate allegations of misleading statements. If a member of the MS is found to have deliberately deceived the public or the legislature, they face suspension. Crucially, suspension of significant link now triggers a recall petition, effectively giving voters the power to fire the politician and force a by-election. While proponents like Adam Price celebrate this as a global pioneering step against dishonesty epidemic, the legislation stops short of making lying a criminal offense for sitting members, a compromise made to avoid constitutional clashes with the judiciary. However, the rules do broaden criminal liability for candidates who lie to win votes, creating a two-tier system of accountability designed to clean up campaigns before candidates even take office. Wales becomes the world's first country to enforce rules allowing politicians to lose their jobs. So I had to comment. Would be unethical lying uh, in politics for politicians. That would be unethical. And imagine if they actually had to face penalties for ethic violations. Many politicians wouldn't be so unethical. The same goes for the media. I did some videos on ethics in the media, ethics in politics, and you can file charges against them. But nobody's going to do anything unless you file a complaint. See, in any democracy, every democracy, there is a thing called ethics amongst public servants, and it's mandatory. That's why there's ethics violations. Okay, so okay, let me close that. Go here real quick. Ethics and politics are entwined concepts, with some viewing politics as a public form of ethics. Political ethics are known as public ethics, or political morality is the study and practice of making moral judgments about political actions. This involves navigating moral values in democratic societies where citizens disagree on the ideal form of justice. Government ethics applies to the behavior, processes, and policies of government and public officials, emphasizing serving the public interest, avoiding favoritism and discrimination, and not using one's personal position for personal gain. Public policy should be ethical, meaning it should lead to positive outcomes for the stakeholders it impacts. Bernard Crick viewed politics as a public form of ethics, with experience playing central role. Let's go back up here. Type of ethics in politics. Importance of ethics in politics. Ethics are crucial in politics for building public trust. If you remember anything from any of my other videos, mandatory to do what's in the public interest. I even did a video on a legal term, not in the public interest. So I say that a lot, not in the public interest, because it's not in the public interest and it's mandatory to do what's in the public interest. This is how we maintain the public trust. Okay, and the legal system and the political arena are part of the public trust. Ethics are crucial in politics for building public trust, ensuring accountability, promoting fairness in resource allocation, guiding sound principles decision, and upholding democratic principles like justice and equality, preventing corruption, and giving leaders a framework to resist undue pressure. Without ethics, government lose legitimacy, policies become self-serving, and society's resilience diminishes as seen when leaders act without integrity. Key reasons for ethics matters in politics. Blinds public trust. Ethical conduct by officials foster confidence that decisions are fair, resources are used honestly, and laws apply equally, acting as the glue for stable institutions. Ensure accountability, transparency. Ethics demands openness in political process and holding leaders responsible for their actions, which is vital for moral sound system. Guides policies, decision-making, an ethical framework helps define problems, weigh values, consider impacts on all those affected, and promotes foresight, leading to better politics. Protects against corruption. Clear ethical guidelines provides public rationale for decisions, helping officials resist partisan pressure and preventing abuse of power. Upholds democracy. Ethical governance reinforces fundamental democratic values like justice, equality, and responsible power, giving citizens confidence in the system. Provides moral foundation. Ethics serves as a bedrock for public service. Guiding leaders prioritize the public interest and highest moral principles over personal or party loyalty. Real-world impact. Positive ethical practices ensure fair budgeting, respectful public services, and trustworthy systems, encouraging public participation. Negative. Erosion of ethics leads to low trust, political cynicism, potential systematic failure, weakening the government's ability to function effectively. In essence, ethics transform political power from mere authority into trustworthy leadership, making them essential for a functioning, just society. Okay, ethics in public administration. Why ethics are essential. Okay, let's see. Where to file for ethics violations. So depending on where you're at, it'll be different. Like if you were whatever country I was talking about, but every democratic society, every free country, that operates on, democratic society has, constitution, etc., land of the free. You can do this, okay? So it doesn't matter what country you're in. When you just Google where to file for ethics violations, Okay, to file ethic violation, report the relevant authority based on the context in the workplace. In the workplace, you can do that too. In internal channels like supervisors, HR, or hotlines for government, state, contact inspector general or ethics board like OEIG, Chicago Board of Ethics for charities, the Attorney General for professionals, their specific license certifying body, e.g., medical boards, and federal research employees. In your workplace, supervisors, HR, step is often your direct manager or human resource department, as noted in Stuckel's article, ethics hotlines. Okay, for government employees, state level, file with the Office of the Executive Inspector General for misconduct by state officials, for those doing business with the states. Uh, okay, so, oh yeah, whistleblower, you can also file a whistleblower's report. Report wrongdoing to the U.S. Office of Special Counsel or relevant agencies, OIG, Office of, I forgot, but you'll find it. Gather evidence. A lot of you are doing that. I've been talking to you about this, but nobody's considering about filing for ethics violations. But you can file ethics violations. Well, you file with the, in Illinois, they're teaching these people to file with the ARDC and teaching them what to use, but also file ethics violations. Because violating any law in a court of law, that's unethical. I spoke to this gentleman about the letter of the law and the mandates in it, and simply put, what you see is what you get. Whatever you read, like what I'm reading here, I'm reading word for word to the letter, because there are penalties for violating the letter of the law, and those penalties, fines, removal from public service, and incarceration, and if death is involved, one can receive a death penalty. And violating the letter of the law, that's just lying, and that's disinformation, and there's penalties for disinformation. Fines include, there's fines, removal from public service, and incarceration. If death is involved, one can receive a death penalty. So I explained to him, that's why it's important to use the letter of the law and spirit of the law, so we all see, say, and hear the same thing. In case somebody that's illiterate and can't read, at least if they have understanding English language, when you read it to them, they'll understand. That's the purpose of the letter of the law. Most people don't realize, and what nobody in the legal community will tell you, is the letter of the law and the spirit of the law have a symbiotic relationship. They rely on each other to get you to best understand the necessaries. And the necessaries are, what you see is what you get, okay? So as far as making laws for, so politicians can't lie, there's already laws there in every democratic society, every free society. When you're in the legal system, it's illegal for you to lie, for lawyers and judges. It's in the rules and the codes. It's also unethical. It's ethics violations, politics and ethical violations. It's just when they give you false information about other people, it's not only unethical, that's slander, defamation of character. Okay, people, I just wanted to get into that, about ethics violations. Let's start there. I read to you from the internet. I didn't write this. I'm just pointing it out. I was explaining to the gentleman earlier, I'd like to say this is a gift, but it's not a gift in a way it is, but, knowledge is a gift that I'm trying to give. I was told him I was trying to give to him. But I can't give him what he won't take. So he has to take this knowledge for himself, to own it. And he's doing really good. He's doing really good. I keep telling him, go over my page, legal reform. There's a lot of stuff he should know. He asked me about, and then I go to legal reform. Instead of talking to him about it, I get a copy to the link, and I just give him the link. And then that he makes him want to read more of my other posts. You know, he used to think there was things he didn't know or couldn't understand, but somehow I made it easy for him. I told him that's just because I'm a layman. I don't know, the language they speak in court's unfamiliar to me. I might as well be in Russian. I don't understand Russian either. But I do understand this, the law, the written law. And I know the penalties for violating a letter of law. And even though I am not a member of the legal community, violating a letter of law is still disinformation, and I can still be sued for slander, defamation of character. There's a few other things that, and I could wind up in some legal trouble. So I don't do that. I don't do that, even as a civilian. All right, this is Pops from Legal Reform, unaccompanied elsewhere, wishing you nothing but peace and happiness. May your Creator always be with you and rain many blessings. Long life and good health, my friends. I wish you nothing but a long life and good health.